Jonathan Brown, the Irishman for the MLC Motorsport team on the Mach 1 chassis. He starts 6th, his best performance of the season so far. Then we have on row number 4, Gani Rahane from France and his countryman Charles Tesnieri. On row number 5, Nicolas Scholl from Austria and Gillian Lay, another French driver. Maurizio Hernandez from Costa Rica and Christopher Shani from France start from row 6. Then it's Patrick Kibble and Jana Gewurz on row 7. Romain Bonetto and Jacob Ang on row 8. Jan-Philippe Springomb and Milo Lichterlein on row 9. João Ferreira and Ido Cohen on row 10. Maria Solly Paulson and Ethan Tan, row 11. Nicholas Bayet and Jack Deakin on row 12. Rashid Ghanem and Milan Petele on row 13. If Milan Petele in the number 238 Praga kart manages to get through this race without getting any sort of misfortune or bad luck, he should be in the top 10 come closing time. Konstantin Scholl and Thanapornpang Sutumno from Thailand are on row 14. Then it's Niels Kuhlen and Jason Vian, Manuel Galofre Tournier and Patrick Degenbeck on row 16. Row 17, Rowan Grinvis and Bulgaria's Christian Hristov. Well, ladies and gentlemen, time to hold your breath. Can we get 34 senior X30 karts through the first lap cleanly? It's a capacity grid. All the main players are in the front 3 or 4 rows. There's Jana Gewurz, who came into this weekend 3rd in the championship in the number 212 kart, but Jana is starting down on the 7th row of the grid. Jordan Brown Nutley and Brett Ward are 1st and 2nd in the points standings, and they start 1st and 3rd on the grid. Oliver Clark, 4th in the championship, he starts on the outside of row number 1. João Ferreira, who is joint 5th with Nicolas Scholl, he starts down on the 10th row. Here we go, lights are out, we're off and racing. Smoke fills the air as 34 senior X30 karts gun the accelerator and head off down towards turn number 2. It's Jordan Brown Nutley and Brett Ward, 1st and 2nd. Oliver Clark slots into 3rd. Around the outside, tries to go Mark Kimber, but Joey Van Splunteren holds on to that position. And it's Van Splunteren in 4th, Kimber 5th. And I'm looking back, and all 34 karts safely through the first 3 corners. Now down the back straight, up to well over 90 kilometres an hour. Into turn number 5. And it is Jordan Brown Nutley looking to maintain his unbeaten start to the year. He won the Winter Cup at Valencia in February. He won the opening round at Genk in Belgium. Now we're at round 2 at Salbris in France, and he's still leading. Ward, Clark and Van Splunteren follow behind. They know they have to try and work together, but Oliver Clark decides, no, I've got to go. I know Oliver was saving his new tyres for this race. And he moves into P2. Van Splunteren now following Ward. Kimber runs in 5th position. In kart number 248, easy to forget that Mark Kimber's in his first year as a senior as well. Both him and Clark, first year senior drivers. Not that you would know it, judging by the way they drive. Behind Kimber, Jonathan Brown in kart 215. Up in the 6th position, Charles Tesnieri is 7th. Gani Rahane, 8th. Christopher Shani is 9th. Nicholas Scholl, 10th. Then Gillian Lay. Jana Gewurz up into 12th position. Followed by Milo Lichterlein. The rest of the field heading through turn number 5. All 34 drivers still in contention. Scholl holding off the number 266 of Shani and the new number 2469 of Gillian Lay. That bright orange kart. But now Oliver Clark's got a problem because he's made the move on Brett Ward, but he's not pulling away. And in fact, he cannot reel Jordan Brown Nutley in. Now Brett Ward will give Oliver Clark a couple of laps. We start lap number 4. Sorry, lap number 3 of 18. Kimber has a little nibble at the inside of Van Splunteren. But Van Splunteren holds him off. Now Brett Ward will give Oliver Clark a couple of laps to see what he can do. And then, if Brett Ward decides that Oliver Clark is not on the same pace as Jordan Brown Nutley, Brett Ward will begin to announce his intention to retake second place, as Kimber sends it at the inside of Van Splunteren going into turn number 6, and behind him Charles Testnieri has also gone through at the expense of Jonathan Brown. So it's now Kimber in 4th place, Van Splunteren down to 5th, Testnieri in 6th, Brown down to 7th, and under pressure from Rahane. And in fact, Rahane and Christopher Shaney, I think, have gone through. Nicholas Scholl is then 8th, followed by Gillian Lay. Lap times. Oliver Clark, 102.2 against 102.3 for Brown Nutley. So Clark a 10th quicker than Jordan Brown Nutley. We're on lap number 4. There is the move from Ghani Rahane. And that puts him up into 6th position at the expense of his countryman Charles Testnier. Jonathan Brown now in 8th position following this battle. Jonathan Brown with the luminous green edges to his nose cone. There's Van Splunteren chasing Kimber. Jonathan Brown and Nicholas Scholl, the Austrian driver, he's got another Frenchman in the form of number 249 Gillian Lay behind him. But up at the front, you could see Clark and Ward are now closing in. So Oliver Clark is closing on Jordan Brown Nutley. They cross the line. The top 3 have broken clear of Kimber. So that move that Kimber put on Van Splunteren. Oh, and Clark almost gets off the circuit there. He's got a little bit of muck on his left-hand side tyres. And that means he understeers through turn number 2. But he ran a little bit wide coming out of turn number 2. That's cost him a bit of ground. That one tiny mistake for Oliver Clark there, and you could see him, he almost headbutts his steering wheel in frustration because he knows that was a mistake. And he knows that really he can't defend from Brett Ward because he's opened the door and given Brett Ward a golden opportunity there, and Brett Ward is going to take it. So now it's Ward's turn to try and hunt down the race leader. And that just shows you, well, through turn 1 is flat out. And Oliver Clark just got offline, dipped 2 wheels off the track into the dust, whilst he should have been on the brakes for turn 2. It's remarkable that he only lost a couple of tenths of a second, but they could be critical. Kimber closing in on Clark now in 4th. Van Splunteren holding off Rahane in 6th. The rest of the field come flying through your screen. We still have, there's the number 229 cart going through. That is Nicholas Bayet. And we still have all 34 drivers still running. Christian Hristov is the 34th of them. And nobody has had any major issues as Kimber now passes Clark. So hopefully that dipping that wheel off the track and into that little culvert hasn't affected the setup of the kart too badly. Although Oliver Clark is one of the lightest drivers in the class, which means he's got to carry the most lead, which means there's more stress on the chassis. And curbs increase stress on the chassis. So Clark, who started the season just by snapping chassis every time he touched a curb, is having to drive accordingly, and I hope that hasn't altered the setup. Van Splunteren 5th. There's the battle of a 6th as number 224 Charles Testnieri holds off number 242 Ghani Rahane. Rahane, red and white machine, chases his countryman down the backstretch. Nicholas Scholl runs in 8th. Jonathan Brown is 9th, and Gillian Lay rounding out the top 10. João Ferreira is up into 12th place. And Mark Kimber is making noises behind Brett Ward about relieving Brett of his second position. The number 248 Strawberry Racing Tony Cart of Kimber, the driver from Solihull, Closing in on Brett Ward. He looks to the inside, and Brett Ward on this lap 7 out of 18 knows not to fight Kimber at this stage. If Kimber's got the quickest kart out there, then Brett will think to himself, well, it makes sense that you lead us up to the race leader. Jordan Brown Nutley, 3/4 of a second up the road, has not looked over his shoulder yet. He's just focusing at the moment on the clear track in front of him and of hitting his marks every single lap. He knows that if he drives as quickly as he can and doesn't make mistake, then because he's got a good kart underneath him, because he's got a good setup, he will naturally drop most of the field. Then, with a couple of laps to go, then he'll look round to see who he's got to deal with, if anybody. Runs a little bit wide coming out of turn number 8, though. You can see getting nearly the entire kart off the circuit, just keeping 2 wheels on the track as he bounced a bit wide. There's Joey Van Splunteren still holding off the 2 French drivers, Garni Rahane in kart 242, the red and white number 242 Euro karting entry. That is Rahane, it's a CBK machine. He passes Charles Tesnieri there as we now begin lap 9 out of 18. So at the end of this lap, we will be halfway through the Senior X30 final, and Kimber is closing on the race leader at a rate of knots, and he's bringing Ward and Clark with him. Down the back straight, Mark Kimber is going to be in Jordan Brown Nutley's slipstream. He closes in on the back bumper of that Dan Holland Racing number 244 as they head through turn number 5. Game on at the front. Will Kimber wait, or will he just go straight in on the race leader? In which case, it's going to be elbows out, heads down, fist fight until the very end. Or will Kimber wait and hope that Brown Nutley's got enough pace to at least pull Kimber away from Ward and Clark? Well, it looks like he's going to give him a lap or two, although he's looking very, very close indeed. Will Mark Kimber make his move going into turn number 2? He's not going to have a lunge into turn number 1, surely. He's close enough to go into 2, though. Will he? No. Oh, Brown Nutley's defending. We start lap 10 out of 18, and Jordan Brown Nutley white lining into turn number 3. Game on again. Clark takes 3rd. Brett Ward looks over his shoulder thinking, really? 8 laps to go? We're defending? Oh, boy. Oh, Clark trying to go around the outside of turn number 5. That's not going to work. Well, let's have a look at the gap. These 4 drivers have got a lead of 3.2 seconds over 5th place Joey Van Splunteren. If they carry on like this, within 2 laps, 3 laps maximum, Van Splunteren is going to be right with them. Although, here's Van Splunteren, and he is leading Nicholas Scholl, Charles Tesnieri, and João Ferreira on the number 240 Madcroc kart. That's the 4-kart battle for 5th. Across the line. Well, now Brown Nutley, he's defended, and now he's gone again. No defence. So he's backed them up a little bit, and now he's pressed the go pedal again. Lap 11 now. Down the back straight. Kimber 2nd, Clark 3rd, Ward 4th. There's the leader, Brown Nutley. Not defending 1 iota. Van Splunteren into 5th position has got Scholl now next. Oh, and there's a bit of a mix-up there. There's a bit of a mix-up. That's a change for the lead. That is Oliver Clark taking the lead away from Jordan Brown Nutley. Kimber, well, manufactured a gap by the looks of it. Clark took advantage, and Jordan Brown Nutley's back into P3 and is in danger of losing a place at the podium to Brett Ward. It can change as quick as that. Now Kimber goes in on Clark again. Brown Nutley follows him through. Oh, Clark's going to get shuffled wide. Brett Ward trying to go around the outside. He takes 2nd place, and it can change as quickly as that. I literally was about to say, ignore the name at the top of the timing screen, because that is Jan-Philippe Springholm, who is not in the lead. And I look back, and then it all changed. Kimber, Ward, and Ward doesn't look too impressed with Kimber. He was gesticulating a little bit, looking over his shoulder. Well, I have to say that race management at this point goes out of the window. Brett Ward cannot manage the other drivers to kind of pull away. The statement of intent is clear. We're going to go for it, and we're going to go for it right now. And just look at the train of karts as a yellow flag waving, and there's a couple of karts that have gone off coming through turn 12. So no overtaking into turn number 12. Kimber is pulling away. Ward second. It looks like Christopher Sharney and Ethan Tan have gone off and retired there, but Kimber suddenly pulling away. Ward having to defend from Brown, Nutley and Clark. And just look at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's about 6 or 7 drivers that have now caught Brett Ward. And it's Ward defending. Kimber has gone. And look at Oliver Clark. My word. Oliver Clark. Somebody give the man a medal. He's gone round the outside of 2 drivers going into turn number 5 as though he was racing a NASCAR at Daytona. And he's emerged, gone from 4th to 2nd. Well, he's probably turned around and thought, oh my goodness me, look at the train of karts it's heading towards. I've got to do something. Well, he did do something while Brett Ward was hugging the inside line, trying to keep Jordan Brown Nutley at bay. And he's still defending. This is lap 13 of 18. And look at the list of names behind them. There's Scholl in the 225. Then it's Van Splinteren. Then it is Rahane, Tesnieri, Ferreira, Bonetto, Romain Bonetto, Hernandez, Gewurz, Gillian Lay. There's about 13 karts and something's going to give. But Brett Ward in 3rd place now, holding off Jordan Brown Nutley. Kimber leads by 2 seconds. Brown Nutley's on the inside line. Oh, Brett Ward's not going to let him through there. Jordan Brown Nutley is in the worst place. But there goes Van Splinteren giving Brown Nutley a little love tap. Round the outside is Nicholas Scholl, wheel to wheel with Van Splinteren. There comes Gillian Lay. Oh, they're 4 wide. Van Splinteren on the outside. Jonathan Brown trying to get at the inside as well. Into turn number 8. Oh dear, how many nose cone penalties are we going to get at the end of this one? Because tempers are fraying, elbows are being sharpened, and Joey Van Splinteren emerges in front. But Brett Ward, I think Brett Ward has got a problem, because he's driving defensively for a good reason. I wonder if there's a slow puncture or something like that, because he's literally hugging the white lines round the inside, and he's going 3 seconds a lap slower than everybody else. Jordan Brown Nutley must be spitting feathers underneath that. Here comes Nicholas Scholl trying to go around the outside. He'll cut underneath Brown Nutley. Ward just cannot get going. Clark is 3 seconds in front of them already, and there's 20 karts. There must be 20 karts. Oh, that's what Brett Ward was maybe waiting for Jordan Brown Nutley to make a mistake. Now he looks round, he sees that Brown Nutley's not there anymore. Brown Nutley's dropped back 2 places. It's now Ward 3rd, Scholl 4th, Van Splinteren 5th, Brown Nutley is 6th, Gillian Lay is 7th. Then it's Charles Tesnieri and Gani Rahane, 8th and 9th. Jonathan Brown is 10th, followed by Maurizio Hernandez, João Ferreira, Jana Gewurz, Ido Cohen, Patrick Kibble, all in that gap. Jacob Ang is in that group as well from the Philippines. Then it's Jan-Philippe Springhob and Roman Grinries, Maria Soli Paulsen and Romain Bonetto. So that battle is from 3rd back to 20th. And Ward still's not pulling away. I got a feeling that there's something not right with that kart, because the fact that Mark Kimber leads by 2.5 seconds from Oliver Clark, and Oliver Clark is now 6 seconds. Well, somebody's going to lose patience with Brett Ward if they're not careful. I think Nicholas Scholl may have had a word without actually saying a word, because Joey Van Splinteren has gone through. Ward slides wide there at turn 5. Now, what's Jordan Brown Nutley going to say about things as we go into turn number 10? Is he going to get to the inside of Brett Ward? The answer is no, he can't, because Ward defends. This is lap 16 out of 18. Van Splinteren on the podium. Brett Ward's 100% podium record is at risk here. Nicholas Scholl, João Ferreira wheel to wheel. Scholl emerges in front. Well, now Brett Ward has got to pass Joey Van Splinteren to try and hang on to his 100% podium record. And Jordan Brown Nutley is doing all that he can, but Van Splinteren is pulling away. And Brett Ward just very, very defensive indeed. But he's thinking, well, Jordan Brown Nutley's the man who's ahead of me in the championship. I need to try and outscore him. And if I can outscore him by a few positions, that's better than just outscoring him by one position. Gillian Lay in that bright yellow cart is the next one to have a little nibble at the rear bumper of Jordan Brown Nutley's cart. Van Splinteren is gone. Then it is Gani Rahane to the inside of Gillian Lay. Charles Testnieri now passes Lay, or does he? No. Oh, Gillian Lay around the outside there of the entrance to turn number 10, hangs on to that position, and now he defends into turn number 11. Nothing happening at the front. Mark Kimber has started his final lap, 3.3 seconds in front of Oliver Clark, and Oliver Clark is 7.5 seconds in front of Joey Van Splinteren. Here's the battle for fourth. The top two in the championship fighting over fourth and fifth place, and Brown Nutley, the temptation to simply put Brett Ward in the nearest gravel trap must be there for John Brown. I mean, obviously it's not, because it's a non-contact sport, but you cannot, as a former driver, you cannot understand how frustrating it must be to be in Brown Nutley's crash helmet right now, because Brett Ward is just defending everywhere. Every time Brown Nutley makes a move, Brett Ward covers it. Oh, and there's Gillian Lay across the grass and spears into, I think that may have been Gani Rahane. It was number 242. But up at the front, Mark Kimber is coming around the final corner to take the win in kart 248. Kimber wins for Strawberry Racing. Oliver Clark will take second for the M Sport team. Joey Van Splinteren will finish on the podium in third position. And who is going to take fourth? Well, Jordan Brown Nutley eventually, while we were watching the race winner, quite rightly so, cross the finish line. Jordan Brown Nutley finally managed to get past Brett Ward for what eventually was fourth place. Brett Ward finishes fifth. There are the abandoned machines of Ethan Tan and number 266, Christopher Sharney. But Ward finishes fifth, and it'll be interesting to find out what was wrong with that kart, because from battling for the race lead to finishing 15 seconds